What's up everybody, my name's Big Cam and welcome back to another movie review, and today we are talking about How to Train Your Dragon, the hidden world from 2019, the wrap up, the capper of the trilogy, the third in the trilogy of the How to Train Your Dragon animated films. Deblois, I'm sorry for butchering your name, Dean, but Dean back directing this film. And you know, they're short, they're less than 2 hours, they're like an hour 30, hour 40, and this might be the best trilogy of all time. And I really like, at least best animated trilogy of all time. You know, I can't think of a better one. You know, Shrek 1 is better than these movies, but like Shrek, as like, you know, as they go, they kind of lose it, you know what I mean? Where these, like, the second movie, I was devastated and, you know, really liked the second one, but then by the third, you know, they have to do with what they've already done, right? Like, so they have to, after the second one, Toothless is the alpha of dragons, and he just got those upgrades. So how are you going to upgrade him even more now that it's a third movie? You know, how are you going to progress his story? How are you going to progress Hiccup's story? And kind of also, how are you going to end this? Because, you know, they could have done a fourth movie, but I think they ended up going on and doing like a TV show, you know, called The Isle of Berk or something. And now, if you're a big fan of this, you can go to, I believe, Universal Park down in Florida and go to Berk. You know, I believe they have like a whole Viking How to Train Your Dragon island. And at first when I heard that, I was like, that's dumb. Why would people even want that? Now that I've seen these movies, I'm like, yeah, dude, I would love to go down there and talk to Stoick and Toothless. Oh man. But I thought it was incredible. Grimmel, the villain in this third one, voiced by F. Murray Abraham, is quite intimidating. But F. Murray Abraham is also the voice of Khonshu in Moon Knight, which he kills it in that. But Jay Baruchel, Baruchel, I always screw up his name, but Hiccup has a wonderful arc through these three stories, and you know, really starts to become the chieftain. And you know, spoilers for this movie, by the end, you know, it like ends at like hour 20, hour 30, and then for the final 15-10 minutes you get, you know, what happens in the future and what had happened, you know, because the dragons go to their hidden world to live as peaceful dragons, and humans aren't peaceful with them. You know, they'll hunt them down. So he had to, like, you know, say, hey, you know, if I'm nothing without my dragon, then I shouldn't have him. But so Toothless, the Night Fury, goes as Alpha back to the hidden world, and then they take a boat with their kids, because Hiccup and Astrid end up getting married, and they have little chillin', and then they go and they like try and find the hidden world, and Toothless comes up and remembers his scent, and you know, takes him on a flight. And I was like, what a beautiful ending to this trilogy, and like giving us all that we want. You know, give us that whole story of Toothless and Hiccup, and you know, saving the day, and they're not even really on Berk anymore. They kind of got a new home of Berk. And like the hidden world, when they go to it for a brief second, I was like, wow, this is definitely inspired from like Avatar. And then like them going to a different island and leaving their homeland kind of felt like Thor Ragnarok in a way, where it was like Asgard is not a home, is not a place, it's a people, right? Like Berk is not a place, it's us, right? Like wherever we go is where Berk is. And you know, he had to do his best to protect his family. And I love that, like, even though Stoick died in the last movie, they still had to bring Gerard Butler back as a voice for, you know, flashbacks and a couple different of them in this movie. And I was like, yeah, no, you can't have a How to Train Your Dragon movie without Stoick, right? Like without Gerard Butler's voice in there just for a second. I mean, Cate Blanchett didn't have quite as big a role as I thought she might have for this third movie, but you know, that's also not a bad thing. They really let Hiccup and Astrid be the center focus of this story, like, you know, Hiccup's been the whole time. And this love story that's gone through 3 movies, and like she's the only one that believes in him, and like even when he can't figure it out, she's there to have his goddamn back, you know. And like he's like, come on, we can't talk about this. She lands, she goes, come on, we're going to find him. And she, like, you know, they're a team, right? Like he's great, Hiccup, he's quite smart, he's a great leader, but he's nothing without his woman, right? Like they get married, and they, oh god, it's so beautiful, such a beautiful story. I wish they could have, you know, still been together and gotten married right next to the 2 dragons, but they end up separating and doing the same thing anyways. Like they have little Night Fury babies, right? So they had wiped out all the Night Furies. So now between the Light Fury and the Night Fury, there's a new, they're like, you ever get like a half and half cone at an ice cream place where it's half chocolate, half vanilla? That's kind of what the the baby Night Furies were. Like, there was some that had half white, half black. There were some that were all black. There were some that were mostly white with just little black dots. And it was like, yeah, no, that probably would happen in a litter full of dragons. But yeah, so now Hiccup's a father, Toothless is a father, and like Hiccup introduces his kids to Toothless. Toothless introduces his kids to Hiccup. Like, oh God, man, what a beautiful story. And like, you know, my biggest gripe is that I hate when things end. You know what I mean? Like, I like, one of the main reasons I love Marvel so much is that even when it ends, like Endgame ends, and there's more story after it. Like, there's stuff that comes after it. There's stuff that's happening. Just like the real world. Just because a movie ends doesn't mean the real world ends. Just because the movie ended and you walk out of the theater doesn't mean life is over. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go get in the car, drive home, think about that movie. Maybe you want to see it again. Maybe you don't. Maybe it changed your life forever. Maybe it didn't. Maybe you hated it. You know, like, movies affect you. And when they affect me as much as this How to Train Your Dragon trilogy did, like, yeah, I need more. But in all fairness, I think the first one was 2010. Hold on, let me get the actual dates so I'm not just guessing. So the first one was 2010, the second one was 2014, and the third one didn't come until 2019. And then the live action version didn't come till 2025. So we're talking 4 years in between the first two movies, 5 years in between the second and third movie, and 6 years in between the third and the live action. So hopefully How to Train Your Dragon 2 live action comes quicker than 4 years between the two first animated movies. But at the same time, now he doesn't have to figure out the story. He doesn't have to write the script necessarily. Sure, he has to write the adaptation into live action because there are going to be limitations on things you can't do like they could in the animated that they can in live action, you know what I mean? But there's also things they can do in live action much easier than they could in animation, you know? So there's limitations, but there's also, you know, there's push and pull when it comes to this live action versus animation. But I don't know, from what I've been hearing, the live action How to Train Your Dragon is quite good. So I don't know, I have to go see it. I'm really curious, and maybe I'll be able to drag Langone, my buddy Langone, and his daughter Avery next weekend, because this weekend we're going to see Elio. So maybe next weekend I'll be able to drag him to How to Train Your Dragon. Or maybe I'll just have to go by myself. I'm not opposed to that. If you've never gone to a movie by yourself, I highly recommend it. You know, for years I was like, you went to a movie alone? What are you, lonely? What are you, a loser? And then I did it by myself at one time because I couldn't find anybody that wanted to see this movie, so I just went. And it's like liberating. It's one of the most glorious experiences, just to be alone with your candy, with whatever, with your popcorn, and just experience a movie entirely by yourself. You know, like, even though, like, I think the day I did that, the theater was practically empty. I think there was one guy in the other corner, and I was just sitting there, like, crying, you know, having all the emotions by myself, right? Like, and just like watching a movie at home, you don't need other people around to justify your emotions that you're having from this movie and how it's affecting you. Why not go to a movie alone and do the same exact thing? So, go see some movies alone, with your friends, doesn't matter. Go see some movies. Watch them at home, watch them in the theaters, do what you gotta do. Comment below your thoughts on the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Overall, this third movie I also gave 4 out of 5 stars. The entire trilogy I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and I was gonna rank it, but honestly I can't. I think I would just never watch the How to Train Your Dragon movies without watching them 1, 2, and 3. You know, like, just because of how good a story they are in a through line, and, you know, seeing the growth of the boy Hiccup turn into a young man Hiccup, turn into a young adult Hiccup, right? Like, and now a chief Hiccup, and seeing the progression, of young dragon to 20-year-old dragon to 25, 30-year-old dragon, you know, like, they age just like we do, you know. And I love the details, I love the thought behind it, I love the Viking culture, I love the dragons, love everything to do with these movies, I really do. And honestly, if they want to come back in like 2030 and do another trilogy of the animated movies, but maybe Hiccup's son, Burp, I don't know. What is it? He's a hiccup, right? Like, hiccup, right? What's another bodily function? Burp. His son Burp, from the Isle of Burke. Burp from Burke rides Toothless, rides full teeth, rides dentures. So, so Burp rides dentures, the dragon, and there's Astrid, astral plane, Astrid. You get my point. We're brainstorming here. We already got some ideas. Dean, if you'd like to take Burp and dentures as the next dragons, go right ahead. You get my sign off. But alright, I'm getting loopy for some reason. I've got the giggles, so I gotta go. But How to Train Your Dragon, drop your score in the comment section down below. If you'd like to follow my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. Check my lists and my movie reviews on Letterboxd, Big Cam, 2 G's and a Big, pretty much anywhere you can find me. Just look for this face. Thank you guys so much. If you made it this far in the video and you would like to support the channel, the best way to do that is liking this video, commenting down below, hitting that bell so you don't miss future videos, so you get the notifications, and make sure you drop a subscribe so you don't miss future videos when they come out, and you support Big Cam and the channel. It really goes a long way, and I appreciate each and every single one of you that made it this far. But once again, my name is Big Cam, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace!